Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nick Sahami joining you here for this matchup. We're going to be bringing you the Humber Hawks and the Georgian Bruins. As always today, I'm going to be joined with Lucas. How you doing, Lucas?
I'm not too bad, Nick. How are you?
Pretty good after that exciting first match we just saw. For those of you coming back, returning, you happened to capture the Redeemer Royals earlier. But as mentioned, though, we're going to see the Humber Hawks in tough here against the Sheridan Bruins, and we're going to kick into action here in just a few moments. And with the serve from De La Cruz, getting this up and over here to start this match, we're going to see Kinoshita to Blanchette there. But a nice dig on the back line for De La Cruz, but Blanchette right up front there with Skanes. But here on the other side, Skanes coming through with a nice block there again as De La Cruz looking to set up Jahaj, and he does just that. A quick start to this game here. We should have an exciting one back and forth here. The Sheridan Bruins going to have some fresh legs after a quick 3-set loss to the Mohawk Mountaineers last night. And on the flip side, though, we have an exciting duo of Blanchette and Gibbs here for the Humber Hawks. And here's Kinoshita to just that. Blanchette there, but now Majcen digging that out on the back end as we're going to see the Wolverine look-alike Gibbs get that one over. But here on the other side, a nice little tip there. But Gibbs going to find that. Skanes going to get a little bit of a weak one, but going to get bailed out there by Quibin. And here Jahaj just going to push that, and he's going to land that one down as a bit of miscommunication with number 11, Quibin, and number 7, Majcen there. The Bruins jumping out to a quick 2-0 lead here against these Hawks.
Yeah, we saw a lot of miscommunication in our first game, and it kind of looks like Humber might be going through the same unfortunate phase. Early on, both teams really struggled to get their games going, and it looks like Humber might be having that same problems as Sheridan's just bringing it to them with those hard spikes.
Nice dig there, though. There's Blanchette right back, but an even better dig from the Rookie of the Year, Butcherietti. But now a nice dig there from Justin Kong. We have a good rally back and forth here. And there's Gibbs just going to put that one over. But a good dig from the libero, Butcherette. But this one up at the net now. Jahaj not going to get the success he was looking for. And the first points here for the Humber Hawks as number 14, Kinoshita, going to be setting it up. And Kinoshita, the third-year player out of Brampton, one of the tallest setters you're going to see actually at 5'11" as well. And he does actually is top 5 on the team in blocks because of that height. But right back coming the other way, number 7, Parveer Jahaj, a big point there, putting that one through the dig of Quibin. And some exciting back and forth play here, Lucas, early on to start this first set.
Yeah, you know, both teams really trying to get involved, maybe trying to move the ball around a little bit more just to get everybody involved, get locked into the game. Doesn't take much motivation to get into a game like this. Both teams are just absolutely firing the ball at each other with some very hard spikes. That seems like it's going to be the game plan. We're going to have another one here.
Gibbs, but a nice dig there on the back line from number 10, Hudgens. But it's not going to matter there. And sorry, that was actually Adams on the dig there. And Adams going to be setting it up for serve here for the Hawks. But you definitely mentioned that there, Lucas, some back and forth play, some incredible digs, and some big kill attempts here early on. But out of bounds there for the Bruins, and that loss of serve will see the point over to the Hawks. And we're going to see number 16, Clayton Blanchette, number 1 player in the province for total points on the year. Part of the 300 club, a very unique club not too many people can get into, and that is 300 kills and 300 points on a year.
Definitely going to look for him for some leadership today to try and push his team into tomorrow's medal games. You always look to your leaders in big-time games to be the ones that are going to push you towards victory, and just for them, they're going to be looking for that.
Yeah, Blanchette a little bit errant there on that serve. Blanchette with 40 service aces on the year. Definitely a strong part of his game, but not there, though, as we see Kinoshita find Skanes. But a good dig there on the backside for Jahaj. But getting a little too high up there, we're going to see no deflection, actually, though, so that one's just going to be out on Ricky David's number 8 there, the second-year player. And now we're going to see actually Collin Skanes set it up on the other side here as these Hawks look to dig into this little mini 2-point lead here these Bruins have built up. 5-3 here early on.
Very quick pace this, and we're already at a 5-3 score. Our last game, it seemed like it took a little while just to get to the 10-point mark, and here we have Sheridan already at 6 points as they lead Humber 6-3. So maybe
definitely,
the momentum of this is going to be going quick.
You definitely nailed it there, Luke. There's a lot more rallies in that last one. Maybe not necessarily as exciting those rallies as we've seen. Quicker play here, but definitely more exciting play for sure, to say the least.
Both these teams just trying to get their games going early, and the hard spikes continue. And the great defense does as well.
And there's a nice dig from Quibin to Kinoshita, and there's Gibbs, but a nice dig right back from Jahaj. But here's Blanchette. I think we're going to see a violation, though, there, and the point over, as we're going to see the violation on Gibbs as he pulls up the Power Puff curl socks. And now we're going to see on the other side there, number 8, Ricky Davids, try and take advantage of here. Sorry, take advantage on that violation. And now the Bruins up 7-3 here early on. But there's Kinoshita looking for a quick one. Up front there to Blakely, didn't really work out, and now back the other way, a little finesse from De La Cruz, but Kinoshita saw that, and there's Gibbs. And this time, I don't think anyone saw that one off the hands of Gibbs. Number 13, Butcherietti, as mentioned, the OCAA Rookie of the Year there, and even he wasn't able to dig that one out against big boy Alex Gibbs.
Seems like Gibbs' spikes are going to be a big problem for Sheridan to defend, as any team.
And you know he's looking to set it up again. Didn't get the pass he would have liked there from Kinoshita, but still able to get it over. But on the other side there, De La Cruz to Kong, not going to work out there as Kong hit that one right into the net. Justin Kong, predominantly the facilitator there and showcasing why, as his offensive kill attempt game may not be as strong as, let's say, Christian De La Cruz, number 2 for the Bruins. And on the other side, just out of bounds there, and that's going to be number 6, Ross, and Macaulay Ross, the first-year rookie, going to actually give that serve now, and we see the Bruins losing their lead here, down 7-6, sorry, up just 7-6. And with that one now, going to be tied. Alex Gibbs finding some success here early on in his service games, as we see now here the Humber Hawks tying it up 7-7 against the Bruins. There's Jahaj finding Kong, and there's De La Cruz. Kong to De La Cruz is a connection that has to work for these Bruins, and they're going to get incredibly lucky there. That ball deflecting off the wall up front of Ross and De La Cruz and somehow rolling along the net there and landing in the Hawk side.
Yeah, just a little bit of a favorable roll there for Sheridan, and they're not going to complain about that at all. But both teams looking like they got the kind of similar style where they're just kind of working it from the side, trying to get their spikes coming from the middle, and both teams have very, very heavy hitters.
And both teams rely on one player up the middle. It's Adam Kinoshita, number 14. And on the other side, it's number 2, De La Cruz, who's always taking it from number 9, Justin Kong. We're going to have to see, though, if De La Cruz and Kong can bounce back from a tough loss there yesterday where they were blown out in the first set. But hey, when you're stuck in a tough matchup against those high-flying Mountaineers, we have to commend them, though. They did only lose the last couple of sets by just a few points there, 25-21 and 25-20, after the Mountaineers took the first one handedly there, 25-18. But now here they seem to be in tough, Lucas, a little bit. These Hawks coming alive a bit.
Yeah, coming alive a little bit. It just kind of seems like we're going to see maybe a lot of what we saw last game with a lot of heavy back and forth. Both teams really early on trying to maybe pull ahead. Want to get the first set under your belt, especially in these championship games, which are high pressure. Anything you can do to take a little bit of the jitters and nerves away is going to be something that you're going to try heavily to do. And both teams so far, we've seen some pretty good volleyball. We saw a lot of serves into the net in the last game, and we've just seen a lot of really good hard work so far in this one.
No, you definitely nailed it on the head there, Lucas. And coming out of this timeout, though, we're going to have to see if the lineup of Blanchette, Blakely, Kinoshita, Quibin, and Gibbs, and on the back line, Majcen. Let's see if they can continue this momentum they've built up a little bit here on the other side, battling, as mentioned, the OCAA Rookie of the Year, Butcherietti, the libero here for the Bruins, but De La Cruz going to dig that, finding Kong, and a nice one there, but a good defensive attempt on that. And Kinoshita with a nifty play there, finding his own point. Doesn't have that happen too often as the facilitator, but as we touched upon in that last game there, Lucas, those finesse plays, those quick little volleys from your setters can sometimes be taken advantage.
Exactly. Well, it looked like there that they were expecting to see another one of those spikes, but when they just did a little finesse touch over, caught them off guard. And like we talked about earlier, those are just some spikes that you just are literally unplayable on the defensive side of the ball. And that would be one of them. An absolutely great offensive play there from the Sheridan Bruins, resulting into a 9-9 tie score here with the Humber Hawks.
And we see Kong, who facilitated that last one, get the serve over, but here comes Kinoshita to Blanchette, and just like that, Butcherietti not able to dig that out. A big point here. Clayton Blanchette having the start he prefers to his games, and now up 10-9 here. A big one there for Blanchette.
Seems like all of our offensive points are just going to come from big spikes.
Blakely, the former baseball player there, actually had a little bit of scouting done on himself there a few years past. finding himself on the volleyball court here. As you can see, a little bit of an unorthodox serve on that last one. And with that loss of serve, we're going to see De La Cruz setting it up here on the Bruins side. But there goes Kinoshita up, and a nice one there for Skanes, but dug out there from Butcherietti and De La Cruz working together. Pybin coming back the other way with his own dig, but here comes Gibbs. But somehow De La Cruz using his shoulder there. And now on the other side, Jihash forcing Gibbs to dig that one out. And some good back and forth play here as we get a nice rally as we see Quibin looking for Blanchette, and this time Blanchette with a running kill attempt, gonna put that one down.
Humber's really using their offensive power overall so far in this one. They just get their points, a lot of good ball movement so far in this one. And they're really just trying to kill the ball right down the middle of the defensive side for Sheridan. Sheridan's been playing some great defense, has made some plays on some balls where you think that they would have no chance of doing that. They're going to need to continue that if they want to keep the score close, because it seems like Humber's offense is working hard. Here comes another one.
Yeah, an 8-3 run here actually for the Hawks, as there was an early lead 7-3 for the Bruins, but we get some back and forth play, a violation on the Bruins side it seems. No, it's actually going to be on Gibbs again. Gibbs going to ask for some clarification, and with that it's going to be a big point for the Bruins. And some back and forth play here as teams now settling down a little bit. We had some exciting action to start this one, but now teams may be calming down, finding their rhythm a little bit here, not wanting to give up too much. But they're going to see Gibbs with a big one there on the deflection up front with number 6, Ross, going out of bounds there, not able to use the help there from Jihash. And with that block attempt out of bounds, we now see big Clayton Blanchette going to be setting up for serve. And as mentioned, a very consistent player across the board. Gets the digs, gets the blocks, gets the kills, and gets the service aces, but too much power there. And we're gonna have to watch that closely, because if that is not gonna be a part of his game today here, it could affect the other facets of the game for Blanchette. But who knows? Alex Gibbs, as we've seen, could be there to pick him up anyways.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the simple little plays that you overthink and then you just kind of mess up on. Yeah, I don't think we'll see too many more from him like that. Sometimes just mental errors. Good defensive play there by Humber, then now touch the ball, gets the points there.
They managed to keep their hands off that one, and with that one going out of bounds there from Parveer Jahaj, we're now going to see that go back to the Hawks. And we're going to see Collin Skanes set up for serve here. Skanes, one of the taller players at 6'7" in this entire tournament. But there comes Ross putting that one up. So, and that one from David's going to somehow manage to find it there. And a big point for Ricky Davids on that one.
Gonna have another back and forth battle, it seems. Tied 13-13 here in the first set. Ricky Davis looking to have a big set here.
But here comes Quibin to Kinoshita, and here comes Gibbs, but a good dig there from Adams. Oh, Gibbs again, but ran into the wall there of Ross and De La Cruz. And we're gonna see a violation there, and the point go to the Bruins on an exciting back and forth there. Just one too many hit on that one for the Hawks. As our viewers will most likely know, you got to get it back over in 3, not counting deflections or initial block attempts. But now we're going to see Davids get this one over. And there comes Kinoshita to Gibbs, but a little bit too high there as his jump wasn't timed the best. And on the other side, going to get picked up from a big block up front there for Andrew Blakely. Blakely, the second-year player out of Collingwood. And you got a couple of big players on this team, 6'7" Blakely, and as we touched upon, Collin Skanes at 6'7", definitely using their height advantage early on here against the Bruins.
Josh Greaves at 6'9", actually. So Humber's got one of the bigger teams that you're going to see in this tournament.
And we're going to see Kinoshita looking for Blanchette, but a good dig from Jahaj as we're going to get a free ball, but Majcen not going to find what he wants there, but here comes Kinoshita to Gibbs, and that's exactly what they're going to want on take 2 there. And Gibbs running back hard there for the ball to serve. Gibbs is nothing but a ball of energy out on the court there.
Yeah, plays with a lot of motion, and it kind of spills over to his teammates when you have a player like that that's as animated as him and is into the game.
And he's going to find a lucky one there, and De La Cruz going to get bailed out from Adam Kinoshita, making a big unforced error there. And now the Bruins in tough here, tied 15-15 against these Humber Hawks in the first set.
No room for error early on in this one with another back and forth matchup, and there's the error we're talking about that we didn't want to see happen. Humber grabs an easy point now, 16-15. Maybe trying to look to pull ahead a little bit here, as that's been something that's been really hard to do.
And there we have a big point back here now for Majcen as the Humber Hawks jumping out here with a couple of quick points now, 17-15. And Michael Majcen trying to use that might here to get his Humber Hawks going. Let's see here as we get Butcherietti digging that out. It's going to go to Jahaj. Jahaj tried the nifty play, but Blakely using his height there on that second jump. But a good dig there, but I think we're going to see the violation, and it's going to be a point over to the Hawks here as they now find a few straight points, up 18-15 early in this first set. Majcen now for his third straight serve here. Majcen with a nice easy serve upper. Butcherietti to Kong, and Kong not able to find the right one there. Number 10, Adams, flat-footed, but here comes Dela Cruz. I think that we get the deflection there. No, a clean play there is going to see that one go out of bounds. And another point, 19-15, as we're going to see a timeout here on the Bruins side. And a big one here as we're going to check out Alec Gibbs. Let's check out the player profile we have here for Clayton Blanchette, actually number 16. We touched upon it, the 300-300 club. I think we're going to pull it up here. In a couple of seconds here, we're going to check it out. As you can see at the bench there, the Wolverine looking Adam Gibbs having some fun there, but you can tell very exciting play as we now pull up number 16, Clayton Blanchette's stats. An incredible year there. 322 kills, number 1 in the province, 690 total attacks. With that, he actually did lead in errors as well, but with the good comes the bad. 379 total points there, Lucas, but the big one though there, yesterday, even though they lost to Georgian, 18 points for Blanchette.
Yeah, you see the 18 points and you see all the great statistical numbers. Those numbers came in the regular season. It was nice to see that him as a leader and being one of the best players overall in the country, that he can step up and rise to the occasion of these big games and continue to put up the numbers that his team needs him to in order to have any chance of victory. And he's doing just that. He proved that yesterday, and he's off to a good start today as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he continues his great ways.
And here's Majcen now with a quick one, and right there, number 10, Chris Adams going to get it going. Majcen taking that one off the shin. Going to want to clean that up a little bit here as he requests the ref to whip out the towel. And we're going to get a quick clean job there as we're going to see it on the other side. Justin Kong setting up for serve. And as we mentioned, Justin Kong, a big player. He actually had 27 of the 28 assists for his team yesterday, and that's a common story, a common theme all year for number 9, Justin Kong, as he gets the serve over. But here's Kinoshita to Blanchette. A big block up front there, though, from Adam Jahaj. Going to try again, and this time he's going to get it down. Number 16, Clayton Blanchette. Take 2, getting it through Chris Adams. Going to see a quick timeout too, or sorry, a substitution, as we're going to see number 2, Joshua Pascual from Manila, Philippines. A little international connection here. Going to come in for serve as we're going to see Blakely step off.
Humber's got a big chance here to go up by a big 5 points late here in the first set, and they're going to.
A nice attempt there from Dela Cruz, but not able to find the right arm action on that one. Punching that out of bounds, and now we're going to see Pascual set up for serve here. A 21-16 lead for the Humber Hawks at just the right time, it seems. But here comes Kong looking to find Jahaj, and holy goodness, Clayton Blanchette putting that one directly down into the ground there on the Bruins side. A big point now, a 6-point lead here. 22-16, Pascual finding some success off serve for these Hawks.
If Humber can continue to play mistake-free basketball, volleyball, pardon me, they're going to be pushing themselves to a quick victory as they're starting to get up here a little bit on Sheridan.
But a nice block attempt there from Skanes and Blanchette. Going to actually land on their side, though. And we're going to see now Dela Cruz have to find some momentum here for these Bruins if they're going to have any say in this first set, with Blanchette getting that over. And we're going to see a double hit there as number 8 coming with Ricky Davids and 13, Butcheriette. As we mentioned earlier, Liam Butcheriette is the Rookie of the Year for the OCAA, but there a little miscommunication with number 8, Davids. And with that, we're going to see Kinoshita just a couple of points away here for the Hawks from taking this first set. But here comes Jahaj, and Jahaj says we're not done just yet. A big kill there, 23-18 now here for the Hawks. And we're going to see number 10, Chris Adams, setting it up for serve.
Humber's going to want to try and put away this first set as quickly as they can. It's always nice to get the first one under your belt. Let's see if they can get this done.
But here comes Gibbs. Gibbs with the nifty play, but David's able to pick it up there. Finds Kong to Dela Cruz, and Dela Cruz almost makes it work, but Quibin able to dig it out, and Blanchette just going to put that over here. Now on the other side, we had Ross set it up, but a good block there. Gonna just go out of bounds though, as the Bruins able to put a pin in this momentum here of the Hawks. Now 23-19. We're not done just yet here, Lucas, in this first set.
No, this shows a lot of character by the Sheridan team to be able to battle back late here in the set. Exactly what the coach wants to see. Big moment here in this tournament. A great defensive play. I don't know how he made
Honestly,
it.
I thought that hit ground, actually. I thought that bounced back up, but it seemed to bounce off the Bruins player. We're going to try again, and this time, Davids and Ross up front, finding the success that they haven't been able to yet against Clayton Blanchette. And now a big timeout here on the Humber Hawks side, as we see the Bruins running into their timeout a lot happier here than the previous one, as they've been able to bite into this momentum a little bit, but still down 3 here as the Hawks are at 23-20, a couple of points away from this first set.
Yeah, you never want to just drop the first set, especially by a large margin, and Sheridan has done a good job of avoiding possibly doing that, even though it really looked like that was going to be the case. Early on in this one, we showed a lot of battle to get back, and now the coaches are going to be drawing up some of the plays that they think that will push them towards success here in this first set. Got to look for the Humber Hawks to continue their hard attack towards the middle with the hard spikes coming from their 2 big men. And as for Sheridan, a lot of their defensive side of the ball has been getting them a lot of the points. They've done a good job combating a lot of the hard work that Humber's been doing with their hard spikes towards the middle. So I feel like we're going to continue to just see a closely contested battle game.
Yeah, definitely up the middle is going to be where these teams can separate themselves. And we're going to have to see whether it's going to be Kinoshita or it's going to be on the other side, De La Cruz, and as mentioned, Justin Kong, if they can separate themselves. Justin Kong actually has 85% of his team's assists on the year, and Kinoshita, no slouch on the other side, with 80% as well. But here now we see a tough air there at possibly the worst time if you were a Bruins fan. Chris Adams with that unforced air, loss of serve, point here to the Hawks. Clayton Blanchette now with a set point opportunity coming up.
This is the wrong guy to have the ball in the hands if you're a Sheridan fan. You don't want to see him with it. And maybe you do.
And that's definitely been an unfortunate part of Blanchette's game here early on in these OCAAs. He was struggling a little bit yesterday with that service game, and now again here today, these last couple going long. He may have to reel it in a bit, but you know he wanted to end that with a bang, right?
Well, the star players always have a little bit more pressure on them, and then you get into the big games like this. Kind of hard to maybe perform up to everybody's expectations. Great play by Sheridan.
That was all De La Cruz there with an amazing dig on the back line there, Lucas. Not gonna lie, I was a very surprising, stunning play, and they have a chance still here, but it is technically set point at 24-22 for the Hawks. Blanchette to Kinoshita, finding Skanes, but De La Cruz again saving his team there, but here comes Davids, and this time we're now gonna see it just a 1-point game here. These Bruins finding the momentum at the perfect time. And another timeout here for the Hawks, as they now are up just one, 24-23.
Well, yeah, Sheridan was showing the character that we've talked about, trying to see if they had it. They found a good way to battle back and get this one down to a 1-point score here in the first set. Getting through this first set is going to be big for whatever team that can pull out, because it seems like we're going to have another similar game to what we had the last time, where it's just going to be hard work continuously from both teams, and it's not going to be easy to pull away at all in this one.
You saw Wayne Wilkins there getting into his team a little bit there. Wilkins, a 23-year veteran head coach, definitely has a plethora of experience and advice to draw upon. And on the flip side, you're seeing Frank Pinto, the second-year coach, not necessarily the same breadth of experience, but still clearly trying to get his team to understand here that they need to continue to ride this wave of momentum. And a little surprising, they haven't even needed number 15, Sean LaSala, yet. LaSala, the first-year rookie, was a big X factor yesterday and player of the game for the Bruins last night in the loss to the Mountaineers. But maybe he's keeping that little silver bullet here for later, as we see Jahaj set it up for serve now. Crunch time in this first set. There's Quaiban, and Majcen not going to find that, as he was already backing up, looking to set up for an outside hit. And we now have a tie, just like in this first set we saw against Redeemer and George Brown. We now have a 24-all tie here between the Bruins and Hawks. And we're going to see a quick little stoppage of play. Majcen again looking to wipe up a bit of the sweat there as he dove on the ground. Maybe had quite the warm-up, I think, here. Lucas, he's finding himself having to wipe it up after each play.
Well, no, when you're putting your body on the ground like that and scrolling all out for balls, things tend like that to happen. And I know personally I wouldn't be diving elbow first with no protection onto these hard floors, so credit these players for their hard work. And Humber's going to get a fortunate bounce here, being able to pull themselves up 1 down with the possibility of taking in the big, very important first set.
Yeah, now 25-24 on that air there on serve. We're going to now see, with that loss of serve, point go over to the Hawks, as Lucas mentioned. And we're going to see number 10 here come in. Quentin Hudgens, the first-year rookie out of Port Perry, coming in for serve. And as he gets the serve over here, going to be just long on that one, and that's exactly the opposite of what Wilkins wanted. And now we're going to see number 10 Hudgens jump back out, and Quibin, the libero, come right back in. That's the beautiful part of being libero. You can kind of just jump on and off when you need. And that's why you'll notice they have a special jersey on as well too. But here comes Majcen to Kinoshita to Gibbs, and running into the wall there of Ross and Dela Cruz. They're going to try again. This time going to push it, but out of bounds there. And now the Sheridan Bruins going to have a chance here. Actually, they're going to call the violation. And Frank Pinto very frustrated and animated here. Some of the loudest I've seen a coach get with the referees. Even Garrett May last game was getting a little animated, but he was employing more of the sarcasm. And we're seeing here, though, Frank Pinto actually talked directly to the refs as he pushes his pushes his player, Justin Kong, captain, to go talk there to the ref on the other side to get further clarification, and doesn't look like he's getting it. And Gibbs here, antsy to get this one over now, up 26-25. And Gibbs does get it up, and we're going to see the first set win potentially. And yes, that one's going to be considered out of bounds there. Dela Cruz almost got that, but with that point, 27-25, the Humber Hawks taking this first set. And you know Frank Pinto is going to be very upset here. And as he walks past the referee on that one, she actually gave him a little bit of a hand motion on that, like, I'm sorry, Mr. Pinto, we need you to calm down a little bit.
Take a step back, or you're going to get one of those cards that we've seen given out to lots of the coaches. Well, not lots, I shouldn't say that. We've seen given out to the coaches.
Doesn't happen too often.
You know what, in a tournament like this where there's lots of emotion for the Sheridan side and the Humber side, there's just a lot of emotion in big games like this.
So we're going to check some highlights here, Lucas, as well from that last set. An exciting first set as it got back and forth to go early on, but they clamped down. But the Hawks were able to squeeze a 27-25 win in that first set, and it's got to be because of Gibbs and Blanchette, as you're going to see right there. Clayton Blanchette on a bit of a free ball, still able to find the height he needs, but Kinoshita and high-flying Gibbs coming into the frame there. That's going to be a common theme here today. Kinoshita Gibbs or Kinoshita Blanchette, as you saw there as well.
Well, you're going to want to run your offense through your star players, and the reason why Humber was able to take that first set is they were able to execute their game plan to perfection. Now let's give some credit to Sheridan. They made some great defensive plays on some balls where both Nick and myself thought it had already touched the ground. Let's see if Sheridan will come out a little bit more motivated, as their coach was very, very displeased with that final call that did lead to the Humber winning the first set. So let's see if Sheridan can take some of the coach's energy and come out here and just play maybe a little bit more of a motivated half, as going down 2-0 is definitely something that you don't want to do in a big game such as this.
Yeah, the Hawks have actually not had to whip out some of their key supporting players either, like Kobe John. You know, as we've seen a little bit of Blakely and a little bit of Skanes, but we can still see a couple other big players if need be. But you'll see there Wilkins getting right into his team. And I think you're gonna have to come out strong again if you're on the Humber Hawks side. Take advantage of the fact that you now are forcing the hand of the other team up one set and keep riding that wave. And if I'm the Humber coach, I guess all I'm going to keep saying is get it to Blanchette and Gibbs, right?
Just keep doing the game plan that we drawn up. You saw it had success early on in the game. It won you the first set, essentially, most of the offensive plays coming from that. In a game like this, you don't want to get away from your game plan and try totally different things that you're yet to try. Both of these teams are going to just continue to do what they did, because we did have a very closely contested first half.
Yeah, Frank Pinto is still very animated and walking, pacing up and down the court here. He was actually getting a little bit into it with his assistant head coach, the 7th-year assistant coach, Dave Chi. Dave Chi looking a little like, I'm only doing what you're telling me to do here, Frank Pinto. Well, but we're going to have to see if maybe, like you said, they can use that energy as maybe motivators here for these Bruins to come out strong starting the second set.
Absolutely. The teams obviously feed off of their coaches. And if you're Sheridan, you're going to want to maybe calm your coach down a little bit, get some points, play some solid volleyball, get up early here in the second half. And this is a very critical set, as the second one's a big one. You don't want to go down too low, and we're getting started here.
Definitely not endearing yourself as a second-year coach when you have a 23-year experienced coach on the other side. But that one going off the head of Skanes, right into the crowd there. A big start for Jahaj, and that's exactly what Coach Pinto wants to see. And now we're going to see number 10, Adams, setting up for serve here on the Bruins side. And he gets the serve over as Majcen finds that to Kinoshita, and there you're going to have Gibbs, but a nice dig there on the other side for Adams. Kinoshita going to set it up for Blanchette on the other side, but another dig there for De La Cruz. And here comes, Davids, but not going to find that one down. And now on the other side, we get settled into a bit of a rally here. Here comes Jahaj, though. Quaibin to Kinoshita. Quaibin with a nice dig there, forcing Blanchette just to get it over, though. And now here comes Jahaj again, and this time the dig not going to happen for the Hawks. A big point for Jahaj. A couple of big kills starting this second set as well. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Bruins fan.
Yeah, Sheridan starting to take a little bit of the plays out of the Humber playbook. Really just starting to smash that ball towards the middle of the defensive end of the court. And they're finding success. A little bit too much on that one, and now it's a 3-0 Sheridan lead.
A good set there from Kinoshita, but Blanchette not able to take advantage of that one. As you mentioned, a quick 3-0 lead here as the Bruins jump out. And that one gonna land for the service ace right on the foot of Majcen. Alex Gibbs looking at him like, are you sure about that one? Even Majcen has a little bit of a chuckle for himself there, but
he's gonna call a timeout out of pure frustration on that one, shaking his head the entire time. Good placed ball, but it just didn't seem like the Humber player was ready to make the proper play on it.
Yeah, sometimes with those in-between plays, it's definitely a split-second decision on which player is going to go for it. Gibbs decided that it had gone too far, so it was going to be a ball for Majcen, and Majcen looked like he had made a decision that, hey, I'm not going for this one either, actually. So what do you think, though, coming out of this timeout, that the Humber Hawks are going to be able to do here to combat this quick 4-0 lead here for the Bruins? Lucas?
I think, well, Sheridan kind of took a play out of the Humber page, which is what won them the first set. I think Humber's just got to get back to the game plan that just won them the start from the beginning of it, and they just got to continue to work on getting the ball to the star players to get in those really hard hits towards the middle of the court and make those plays just undefendable.
That's a great point there, Lucas, and we're going to have to see if they can potentially employ that strategy. I know you're sounding like a volleyball head coach a little bit there as well. You got me a little motivated here.
Well, when you get the second set is a really big one because you have a chance to tie it up. As for Humber, you have a chance of really getting up 2-0 and trying to battle back from 3-0, especially when you are in such a closely contested game with two even teams that you're not going to want to let one team get too far ahead in the sets, because then you're just asking for trouble. Humber going right back to what had them the success on both opposite sides. Great defense by Sheridan. Some we didn't see too much of in the first set as they take a 5-0 lead.
Yeah, Ross and Davids coming up big there for the Bruins, as now we're going to see Adams, setting up for serve. A quick 5-0 lead here. And let's see if these Hawks can finally jump on the board. Alex Gibbs forcing his way on the board there, getting that one through both the net and a couple of Bruins players. Now 5-1 here as we see Blanchette setting up for serve on the Hawks side. And we're going to see a quick replay there as well. A massive kill there for Gibbs.
Humber happy to finally get on the board after an unanswered 5 points. See if they can get a little bit of momentum as they had in the first set.
But here comes Kong to Jahaj. Not going to find success there, though. A nice set from Kong to Jahaj, but Jahaj going to hit that one into the net. And with that air, we now see a couple straight points here. Blanchette setting up for serve again. Let's see if these Hawks can continue to bite into this lead for the Bruins. 5 too early on as De La Cruz going to dig that out for Kong, forcing Jahaj just to get it over here. And now we're going to get a nice easy setup for Kinoshita to, oh goodness, you guessed it. Clayton Blanchette, Lucas, goodness. Getting up there again, coming back from that back line in an exceptional height on his jumps. But we're going to see a little bit of an injury here actually on the Sheridan Bruins side. Unfortunate, nothing you really want to ever see if you're a coach or a spectator. Hopefully he's going to be able to bounce back from this one, as we do have the trainer attending to him here. And you're definitely going to have to give your prayers and wishes out here. Looks like it could potentially be an ankle injury, but on the other side here, you're going to see the Hawks there. And now the bench looking a little concerned here as well for the Bruins. A big player down, number 7, Jahaj. And he has been flying all over the court here early on, and this could be a big blow here for these Bruins. Going to be coming off here gingerly, as we're going to see a round of applause though here. The trainer and David's going to help Jahaj off the court there a little bit. Hopefully we can maybe see Jahaj later, maybe if he can throw some ice on that.
Well, he's already got the 2 braces on his ankle before the games, which kind of leads me to believe maybe he's unfortunately has weaker ankles or has suffered previous injuries that are lingering, and you never like to see something like that happen from a player, and unfortunately ankle injuries are something very, very common in volleyball with all the jumping and the quick moving and cutting that you have to do. It kind of comes with the sport, unfortunately. Let's hope he's okay.
But we're going to pick it back up here with Blanchette, taking it in here for the Hawks on serve, taking his time a bit here with the Hawks down 2-5-3. Gets that over, and you know he needed to take his time because the last couple he hasn't been able to get over there. But a big one now here, and we're going to see though on the other side if Davids can put it down, but Blanchette digging it for Kinoshita, and here comes Gibbs. But Butcherietti, who has been quiet today, digging that one out. A nice play there as we get a good rally here. Let's see though if Blanchette can put it through. Somehow it deflects off of Blanchette landing, and we're going to now see if LaSala can get that down. As mentioned, LaSala going to have to step up here, and a big one there for Alex Gibbs, getting pumped up, using the 2-handed fist pump there, Lucas.
As we talked about throughout the game, he's just a very animated player, plays with a ton of emotion, and you know what, it works because his shot, or the spikes that come off of his hands have some of the craziest velocity you'll see in this tournament, filled with so many great players.
Yeah, as mentioned, we're going to have to see if number 15, LaSala, can come out here and fill the gaping hole that Jahaj is leaving for these Bruins, as we see Blanchette just get it over. Butcherietti digging out for Kong, and here comes LaSala, and LaSala doing just exactly what the Bruins need here, coming out in a big point there as they're going to take serve back. The Bruins were almost about to give that lead right back here to the Hawks, but instead they do manage to take that point now, up 6-4 here. We're going to see LaSala get this serve over. LaSala gets it over, Majcen finding that, Kinoshita looking for Majcen now, and Majcen gonna get cheeky, but it's not gonna land there as Kong did see that, and here on the other side, another cheeky attempt, but Skanes and Gibbs finding the defense there, but here comes Kinoshita to Gibbs, and Gibbs gonna see the deflection there off that one, and a big point for the Hawks, right back here taking service game, and now 6-5 here for the Hawks.
Sheridan coach not too happy with his defense there. Felt like there should have been someone there to help make a play on the ball. Once again, we're getting back and forth into some back and forth action with a 6-5 Sheridan lead.
A floater there from Skanes, but we're going to see it now back on the other side. Skanes going to set it over here. Blakely just going to put it over. There comes Butcherietti to Kong. Back to De La Cruz. But a good play on the back line for Blanchette.
Good play here by Sheridan offensively.
But Skanes, nice
dig.
Here comes Blanchette, just gonna have to put that over as he does, but here's LaSala to Kong, a nice ED setup for De La Cruz, but there's Kinoshita to Gibbs, and now Majcen just gonna put it over, but with some power, almost surprising Butcherietti. A nice back and forth play here, and LaSala coming through again here for his Bruins, giving a little finger point here to his team, like, don't worry guys, I got you.
Sheridan now getting ahead a little bit again, 7-5 here. Continuing great work on the offensive side of the ball. They've really come out the second set and looked like a better team.
Yeah, LaSala with only 90 total points on the year, and only is a bit of a short-sighted comment on himself, but usually not one of the bigger players. But here coming through for his team, but gonna see right there, Adams not able to dig that one out on the back line. David's actually not able to dig that one out, and a big point back over here for the Hawks, who have a chance to tie it up, as you saw in that replay. A nice kill there. And here we get Alex Gibbs looking to set it down, but gonna see it just float a couple of inches out of bounds there. A smart move from Sean LaSala to let that one go. And now again, a little back and forth play here, as very similar to the first set. Teams settling down a little bit after some exciting play here. A little more open play to start it. But as mentioned, they're settling down a bit as we do see Ross get this serve over here. Kinoshita to Blanchette. Blanchette saying, let me amp it back up here a little bit.
Yeah, those are one of the balls that we talked about where you can't make any kind of defensive play on them. Humber's really good at getting one of those. Obviously, their offensive is really driven by them. But Sheridan's still playing really good defense so far in this one, and they really have looked to have found their way here in this second half.
But Majcen got that over, but Collin did find at Ross up front. But the big wall there of Adams, and Kong able to come through there.
Having a lot of good sides up front like Sheridan does really makes it easy to play defense and protect against Humber's real hard spikes that they do try and get over on the middle side. And without those big, good defenders up front, it would be hard to stop any Humber points, really.
A nice dig there from Quaiben, and that's going to lead to an easy volley for Kinoshita over to Blakely, and a big point there. And we're now going to see Blakely set it up for serve. And again, these Humber Hawks not going away here, even though these Bruins trying to dictate and control play here in this second set. But there's Davids to Adams. A quick one there, but now Gibbs just going to look to set it up. And Majcen going to try and get some power on it, and he does. He forces Davids to dig it out, but here's LaSala. And LaSala coming through with his third kill here early in this second set, coming on after the injury there earlier to Jahaj, showcasing exactly why he was the player of the game yesterday against the Mohawk Mountaineers.
Sheridan finally cracks the 10 goose egg.
Dela Cruz getting it over. Now here's Kinoshita to Blanchette, and does it land just out of bounds there, actually. Kinoshita looked like it was in bounds. I think he wanted that call, not going to get it though, as Dela Cruz going to find his second straight serve here with the Bruins looking to extend this lead now 11-8. There's Gibbs to Kinoshita, and you know there's going to be Skanes, but we're going to see the violation on Skanes there, the momentum taking him over. Actually, no, sorry, the violation on the other side for the Bruins, and a big point there for the Hawks.
Humber now only down 2 in this one, 11-9 for the Sheridan Bruins. Some real good back and forth action here in these first 2 sets.
But there's going to be Kong setting it up for Davids. Davids, a nice play, but a good dig from Kinoshita. Now they're just going to force this one over. There's Kong into Butcherietti. Here comes LaSala, but somehow Quaiben finds that, and Kinoshita going to set it up nicely there for Gibbs. And off the deflection, Gibbs going to find that point and maybe find some momentum here for the Hawks, because now they're down just 1 again here, 11-10.
Gibbs is a really fun player to watch. As we've talked about continuously, the emotion that he plays with, and just such a hard player on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that net's shaking a lot. We're going to have to call a violation on someone there. And it looks like it's going to be a violation on the side of the Bruins, and that's going to be a big point for these Hawks as they've tied it up here 11-11. I think we could see each set go the distance here. And now, though, on the other side, Ricky Davids with a quick little play, but Kinoshita saw that, and here comes Gibbs. Or sorry, Blanchette, but a good dig from Butcheriette. And on the other side, LaSala going to hit the linesman, and the linesman going to give it to LaSala, saying there was a deflection there. In my opinion, I think the linesman wasn't really looking to protect himself there, as he did get that glancing off his leg.
When you have a hard spike flying at you like that, sometimes you can't always make necessarily the correct call, but you got to do what you got to do to stay safe.
I'm sure the Bruins will take it though, but coming right back there is Blanchette to tie it up again. Dela Cruz almost digging that one out, but Blanchette going to set it up for serve here, tied 12-12. Both of these teams coming to play here at the D-Bark. You can tell both of these teams want to get into the consolation final tomorrow. And we're going to see if Blanchette can do just that here for his team, and a serve like that is exactly going to do the opposite. And again, as we touched upon, Lucas, Blanchette with 39 service aces on the year. It's a big part of his game when it's on, but a big con to his game when it's off.
Yeah, he talked about the turnovers that he had and just some of the errors that didn't necessarily have to be there due to the way that he plays, but you got to take the good with the bad, and for a player like him, I think they'll take more so of the good. And right there, more of that Humber, just hard-hitting ball type offense continues to work for them, as they have now tied it up 13-13, erasing that earlier deficit that we saw. Shows a lot of how much of a team Humber really is.
Yeah, Gibbs with a big kill there, but we're going to see if Kong can try and a whiff. You don't see that one too often. A swing and a miss there as Kong was looking to set up Ross. And with that, now the Hawks taking the lead here, 14-13 in this second set. Collin Skanes setting it up here for serve again.
We haven't seen as many mental errors in this game as we did the first two.
Another miscommunication play there as Ross just able to get that one over, but let's see if Kong can find another one. And this time LaSala says, don't worry, give it to me. A big point there for the Bruins, and we're getting some back and forth play here now. And you can see LaSala is amped up. And that was a big one on that replay. You can see LaSala was flying through the air there.
Game continues to just be 1 point for Humber, 1 point for Sheridan.
And now Ricky Davids gets this one over. I love saying both his first and last name because it just rolls so nicely off the tongue, but not going to have a good successful play there unless you're a Hawks fan. Majcen getting that one down for a big kill.
Yeah, they kind of got away from more so attack in the middle and had it there on the side, trying to maybe catch Sheridan sleeping and just change it up a little bit here.
Oh, there's De La Cruz, who has had that usually be a part of his game, but today struggling a bit. But up front there, Majcen able to save that one. Not going to be able to find a jump there, though. And we're going to see Kong now looking for De La Cruz again. But the big wall up front of Blakely and Kinoshita going to work out. Kinoshita looking at his teammate like, I didn't do anything there. That was all you, big boy. Number 4, Andrew Blakely.
Humber has found the way to get back in the lead, 16.
And the service ace for Gibbs. Look at the excitement there coming from number 9, Alex Gibbs. And that's going to lead to the timeout here for Pento's side on the Bruins. And that's going to be a big point there. Alex Gibbs with the service ace. Going to be looking to push this lead even further, Lucas. They're now up 17-14, these Hawks.
Well, that was a timeout there called by the Sheridan coach out of pure frustration. They had the lead. Things were looking all great. At the start of this half, it looked like it might be the first set of the day where it was a little bit lopsided. But now if you take a little peek here at the scoreboard, you'll realize that Humber is up 17-14. And Sheridan's maybe going to try and draw it back up and figure out what was going right and how can they get back to that, because now we're starting to get close to that 25 mark. And with how quickly Humber's offense can strike, you don't want to give them too much breathing room, as if they get up 2-0 here, I don't know if the odds are all that good for the Sheridan Hawks. As for Humber, you see the coach pretty much just probably reiterating, keep doing your game plan, keep doing the same stuff we've been doing. We found success, we got them on their toes, let's just keep attacking.
And there's number big 15, Sean LaSala, able to come in here and stop the momentum a little bit on the Hawks side after that big injury early on to, again, number 7, Parveer Jahaj. And Jahaj with almost 150 total team points on the year. You know he's a big player. He's actually second on the team next to number 2, De La Cruz. But LaSala coming up to play here today again, making sure that his team has a chance even though they've lost one of their biggest players. And now as we get the serve in there from Gibbs, we're going to see Kong looking for De La Cruz. But a nice dig from Gibbs on the back line, but not going to work out as it went right into the net, and Majcen wasn't able to corral that.
Thankfully for Sheridan, breaking the Humber scoring streak. Getting a point there for Sheridan. It's always good to kind of try and kill the momentum before it becomes too much.
We're going to see number 12, Alex Ranny, come on, the first-year player. 5'9" here, one of the shorter players on the Sheridan Bruins side, but you know he's going to be in for serve and be jumping right back off for the libero Butcherietti. But here comes Blakely putting that one down from Kinoshita. A big point there now as the Hawks able to continue this lead, maintaining it at 3, and as mentioned, we're going to see number 12 jump off there, Randy, and right back on is number 13, Butcheriette.
Yeah, I was joking with him earlier in the week. I work here at the school and had a little conversation with him. He said he was excited to get the playing time that he did. He just wanted to be able to perform for his teammates. He understood how big it was. He talked about how he had a lot of fears about playing the Mohawk team, who is much talked about to be one of the favorites in his tournament, but he also talked about how close of a group his Sheridan teammates are and how much fun this tournament will be for all him and his teammates. So it's good to see him get some court time there, and there's the Humber attack continuing to just beat the Sheridan defense. I don't know if it's size or what it is that Sheridan needs to have, but this Humber attack offensively with the hard spikes is unstoppable so far.
You nailed it though. Their tallest player is 6'3", and what that means is on the other side you got 6'7" Skanes, 6'7" Blakely, and as you touched upon too, we haven't seen 6'9" Josh Greaves, but the height advantage clearly in the favor of the Hawks as De La Cruz gets this serve over here, gives to Kinoshita, and Kinoshita finding his own point there, but somehow De La Cruz and Kong able to save that for the Bruins. Kinoshita trying it again, this time going to make it an easy set here now. But a big block, Kinoshita picking up his team, but here comes Butcheriette again. getting that one to Davids. A one-on-one up front here. Who's it going to go to? And they're going to say that was the violation there, reaching over the net on number 10, Adams. And Collin Skanes coming out looking pretty there.
We now got Humber into the 20, 20-17. Looking to get up by 2 sets. This will not spell anything good for the Sheridan Bruins if this is the case.
Pinto and the ref having some smiles and laughs there a little bit as we get a big point here there. Perhaps Pinto understanding he needs to endear himself a little more here early on. And with that big point, they stop the momentum there. And we're now going to see Adams set up for serve here on the Bruins side, down 20-18. We're going to see a quick substitution as number 12, Alex Randy, comes off. And we're going to see now LaSala back on, and joining him is going to be Ross Kong. And we have Ricky Davids and number 2, Dela Cruz. And on the flip side, as they clean up a little bit of moisture here, you're going to have the usual Majcen, Quaiben, Gibbs, and of course Kinoshita up front there with Blanchette. And a bit of a surprise here as we're seeing Collin Skanes, number 17, find some good playing time today here. Definitely, you can see the Humber Hawks coach wanting to use that height advantage here. But we see Kinoshita setting it up to Blanchette, and somehow the Bruins again, I've said this often, time and time again, digging that back, but here comes Gibbs, and Gibbs putting it down on the other side. A little bit of a shimmy shake on that one too. Some exciting play here for the Hawks, up 21-18, looking to take the stranglehold here, up 2-0 after a nail-biting first set win, 27-25.
Yeah, it's just been the Gibbs show, working way too hard there in the offensive zone. He's been too much to handle so far for the Sheridan defense.
Gibbs definitely the player of the game so far, but coming right back. LaSala saying, hey, I was my own player of the game last night as well. A big point there for 15, LaSala.
Trying to keep it within the 2-point margin. Obviously, Sheridan would love to be able to crack the 20 mark for themselves as well.
Yeah, these Bruins team, very young, as you mentioned right off the bat. They're starting this, Lucas. They have quite a few first-year players, and a lot of these first-year players are actually a big proponent of this team. LaSala, Butcheriette, and as we touched upon earlier, Jahaj, even though injured, another rookie as well too. But here comes LaSala with the serve, going to be out of bounds by quite a few feet there, and that's going to be a big one as the Hawks now have a chance up 3 here, 22-19, to take an even bigger lead in this second set. And we're going to see the player from Manila, Philippines, Joshua Pascual, set up for serve here on the Hawks side.
We got a little bit of a discussion here between the coaches and the referees.
Yeah, the Bruins asking for some clarification, it seems, again here, Lucas. Dela Cruz coming to the net, and now Kinoshita coming up as well too here.
Yep. And you talked about a little bit about how Sheridan's a lot of rookies, so you can look at that in 2 ways. You can look at that as, they're inexperienced and they're not going to be able to step up to the moment. And you know what, for the general part, they really have. They've played a good game. Humber obviously has a very strong, bigger team, and they've done very well to keep it within a close game, as we saw in the first set. And then you look at more of a little bit of the positives. They're already here in this big tournament. They've qualified for it. They're competing in it. You can only think that with the years to come that they will become one of the more stronger teams, because experience just leads to overall better quality volleyball.
No, you definitely mentioned that. The Hawks actually had to beat Laseet for the crossover game to get into this, and on the flip side, Sheridan had to find their own crossover win, but a big kill attempt there, going to go out of bounds from Ricky Davids. But as we just mentioned, the crossover game win for the Bruins was against Canadore last weekend, and a big one at that. But now we're going to see Pascual set up for serve here with the Hawks up 23-19. Here comes Davids, but right back on the other side, Majcen to Kinoshita, and there's Gibbs, but a good dig out.
They were expecting a big hit from him there, and he let go with a little decisive play. Covering there for Nick. Nick's got a little bit of a sore throat.
I was just going to say,
cut it out on him a little bit.
Lucas.
That's what friends are for. As you can see, these teammates working together. We got to work together here on the mics, and Sheridan's doing a great job of working together with some good ball movement. Humber as well. Here comes the big hit, but better defense.
Forth, and somehow Majcen able to get that one back over. LaSala now, as we're going to see Davids try again, but Blanchette with another dig here. Ross to Kong. Here comes LaSala, and LaSala with the unforced error there right into the net. A big point for the Humber Hawks. Now up 24-19 here, looking for this big second set point. And we're now going to see if Joshua Pascual can do just that for the Hawks. The serve's over. There's Butcheriette to Kong, and here comes Davids, and the big block there. Inbounds for Gibbs, and Alex Gibbs is excited to say the least. A big second set point there with the Humber Hawks taking it 25-19. They're now up 2-0. The stranglehold here, Lucas. We're going to check some highlights here from that last set. But goodness gracious, I don't know if these Bruins can come back now.
No, when you look at a 2-0 series lead in this, look at the plays you're seeing here. You're just seeing the power overall of the Humber team right here. Boom, good set play, bam. It's just balls like that that are just undefendable. Here we go again. Set up, bam, right down the middle. The defender is in position to make a perfectly good play, but he's just unable to. You look at Sheridan try to maybe take a little play out of their book, and it's just a great defense. You know, you talk about you got to play with heart, you got to play with this. Sometimes size just outmatches everything. You can't teach someone to get taller. You can't teach size. Unfortunately, no, you cannot. You can maybe help grow, but stuff like that is just overpowering by the Hawks right now. They've continued to play a great game. Sheridan's coach has showed a lot of frustration as of late with the referees. The teammates may be starting to feel a little bit of that. You're seeing now on the screen the Humber kids dancing around a little bit. Much different story here on the Sheridan sidelines, where the kids are listening to their coach intently as they realize that they have a chance to be eliminated from this. Gibbs laughing it up, getting a drink in.
Just want to actually highlight there, Lucas, you saw in that last play, Jahaj with his ankle wrapped up. We're not going to be seeing him anymore in this game, though, so we're going to have to see LaSala continue to step up here, number 15, for the Bruins if they have any chance of bringing this game back. And that is an unfortunate big loss there. As we mentioned, Parveer Jahaj has been a huge player this year. And now, if I'm the Bruins head coach, Pento, you got to fire your team up. He's been trying to do just that, and they haven't responded necessarily the way he's wanted. So maybe, though, third set, third try could be the time. We'll see.
And, you know, when you lose a player like that, and especially a player that plays such a key role on your team, it changes the overall total dynamics of your game plan, what your team's supposed to do. And when you lose a teammate like that, your teammates themselves kind of feel like there's a little bit of an empty space left on the court because they're so used to having such a reliable teammate there. So definitely a big loss for them, unfortunately. We really hope, besides the fact of not being able to play in this game, that he is okay for future endeavors, which I'm sure he will be. But an unfortunate loss for the time being for the Sheridan Bruins.
Yeah, we'll have to see coming into this third set if Justin Kong can finally come up here and continue to facilitate the offense that his Bruins needs. He hasn't been able to put those set plays, those set balls in the areas at the apex of the jump for his outside hitters. But you know who has been doing just that on the other side for the Hawks? Adam Kinoshita, number 14. As we saw on that replay plaque there to end that second set, it was Kinoshita to Skanes, Kinoshita to Blanchette, and especially Kinoshita to Gibbs.
So you just mentioned 3 different teammates and 3 different dynamics, and that's how you win games, is when you have an overall team effort. You're not just relying on maybe one duo or one guy. You have a whole team effort, moving the ball around, getting it into positions where your teammates can succeed. Humber has just done an absolutely outstanding job of executing their game plan, and they've limited mistakes. We've seen so many mental errors early on in this one, and some on the Sheridan side. Humber has just played an overall sound game. Will it continue here in the third set? Let's get it going.
Well, these Humber Hawks are more than loose, as we saw Majcen doing a little shimmy shake there, but a little quick violation on Gibbs there in his positioning during the volley. And with that, though, we're going to see the quick early point here now go to De La Cruz on the other side.
It's good heads-up play from the ref there.
Majcen still smiles on the court here as his team up 2 sets to start it. And maybe because he understood there that potentially Gibbs may have been in position.
Yep.
And as we see in basketball a lot, the ball doesn't lie. We're going to see the point now over to the Hawks. And now Kinoshita looking to set it up here to get it going in this third set for his Humber Hawks.
We just talked about mental errors, and previous point there was, unfortunately for Sheridan, a mental error. So let's see if Humber can get their game plan going again. They do.
Blanchette flat-footed, able to still get good height on that one. And a one-on-one ball. Blanchette going to get called for the violation, though, and he knew right away there. And with that, going to be another point here for the Bruins. Jumping out to an early 2-1 lead here, as we're going to see Ross come on quickly during this serve. As obviously the Bruins want that height up front, and Butcheretti going to step off quickly here. But here comes Adams with the serve. But there's Majcen looking for Gibbs, and a big wall up front there of Ross and Davids. Going to try again. This time Gibbs able to get it over. But here comes Adams now, setting that one up, forcing De La Cruz just to get it over. But here's Kinoshita to Blanchette. And Blanchette able to get that one off the deflection from Ross's face and able to put it down. But this time another dig from Kong on the other side. good point here, back and forth, but a little too much there from De La Cruz. Going to put that one out of bounds, and a big point for the Hawks now. Tied 2-2 early on in here. This third set, going to see Blanchette setting it up here for the Hawks.
Positive note for Sheridan. We hadn't seen defense like that along the net. Being able to take away what we've talked about has been the success for Humber. Well, that's the first time we've seen Sheridan really kind of step it up and just play some good sound defense there. Going to have to continue that if they're going to have a miracle comeback. Good setup by them here.
Yeah, definitely one of the longer rallies we've seen here as Gibbs looking to take that setup. Weekly putting it over as Ross took that, but here comes Kong. And as I touched upon, starting this third set, Kong has to come up with better play there on those setters, because guess what? Your outside hitters can't set it up for themselves. And as we saw there for Ross, not able to find that one, and a big point now for the Hawks as we see Blanchette continuing his service game here, up 3-2.
With another good serve, getting away from those struggles he had early in the game.
But the X factor here early on for the Bruins has been LaSala, and let's see if he can maybe turn around this game here for the Bruins in this third set, because we still have lots of volleyball to play here as we see Ricky Davids getting the serve over here for the Hawks. But there comes Kinoshita and Majcen, and a little bit of a wall, but Majcen able to still get that one through. Kong and Ross up front there, and some back and forth play here early on in this third set. Exactly what you want to see if you're the Humber Hawks, because it seemed like the Bruins were going to try and jump out with that momentum early on. But here the Hawks have been able to stop it and maybe build their own.
Kind of seems like Humber too has maybe changed it up a little bit. You didn't see the big hit there. You saw a little bit more of the little touch pass.
They're actually going to call that deflection though. The one referee on the opposite side did say it was clean, but they're actually going to get overruled there though from the two main referees. And with that, we're going to say, actually, sorry, we're getting some big confusion here from the refs. We're actually going to have it still go over here to the Humber Hawks. Skanes still setting up for serve.
5-3 score now. Humber getting up a little bit. Scary moments for Sheridan.
Here comes Davids, and this time Davids able to get that one down, and we actually see the point here now for the Bruins as they're going to have a chance to tie it up here, Lucas. 5-4 for the Hawks.
Overall, great ball placement there, and it's going to be something that Sheridan needs to do as flawless basketball. It's something that's, or basketball, pardon me, volleyball, something that's going to need to be seen.
You know, volleyball and basketball are one of the few sports where you do see a lot of similar players and heights, so I won't fault you too much there, but goodness, Alex Gibbs coming through again here for his Hawks. That's definitely been the story of the game. As much as we've mentioned Clayton Blanchette, I have to say it's been the Alex Gibbs show.
The Alex Gibbs show has been on full high definition display for everybody today, for all you television students out there.
And a big one there for Majcen, and Majcen able to put that through the wall of Ross and Kong again.
So we talked about height being an unfortunate factor for the Sheridan team. Right there was great positional defense. They got a good ball, good hand on it. They just weren't able to necessarily get it in the exact spot you'd like to.
Cool, but
and look at that.
De La Cruz doing what he needs to, but we have a scary moment here. If you're a Humber Hawks fan, Blanchette going down, but he does jump right back up though here.
Yeah, you know, he kind of played it like that was a very serious injury, but he just got up, kind of mad to be honest, kind of like, what are you doing? But he'll be fine. You know, he's a fierce competitor, leading his team.
I'm sure he still put the coach's heart into his throat there on that one. But we're going to see a quick little cleanup here as Macaulay Ross going to find himself relaxing on the other side here, waiting for the serve. And after we get the moisture cleaned up again, I have to commend the referees here. They've been very on the ball here, making sure that we have a clean court here for these players.
Absolutely.
And as we saw earlier with Jahaj going down on that ankle roll, it's definitely an important factor here for these players' health, but we get right back into it. Kinoshita looking for Blakely, and it's gonna almost fall, but we do get the save here for the Bruins. But here comes Gibbs, Kinoshita, and there's Majcen running into the wall, this time successfully for Ross, and now even more successfully there for Adams and Kong, getting that big point there. And now the Bruins here down just one, 7-6, and we're gonna see now Ross setting up for serve on the end line.
Fortunately for Humber, it really only seems like the spikes work as effectively as they'd like to when it comes from Gibbs and Blanchette.
Ooh, somehow LaSala digging that one out, and they're gonna call a violation there though on Adams as he punched it over. but I still have to commend Lasala. I don't know how he found that Blanchette kill there on that one. And now we see it 8-6 for the Hawks as Majcen going to be looking to set it up on the other side here.
Frank Petzel once again very displeased with the referees. You know, you get some frustration going when your team gets a bit down. And unfortunately for him, his team is quite down. Absolutely great play by Humber. Gotta give credit to the effort that was there. We're gonna need another towel. We're not gonna call it moisture. We're gonna call it hard work on the court. Has dripped off the body. And unfortunately, we need another little timeout. Nick, what would you say is the thing that Humber needs to do to really just solidify the game as a win and get out of here up 9-6?
Well, what I would be doing is I'd be feeding off of Majcen's energy. As you see there, nothing but smiles here, whether his team was down a couple or up a couple. And sometimes it's that mentality in a back and forth game that's going to push you through those negative plays and help you build those positive plays into momentum.
Absolutely.
And right there again, I have to point out my own advice there for the Bruins. You have to get Justin Kong to play like he normally does, and another bad set there, resulting in an easy point here for the Hawks. And there you have it, a much better set there. This one coming from Kong and getting put down there from Adams. We haven't seen enough of that connection here today, but we still have time here in this third set with the Hawks up 10-7. Let's see if now the Bruins can dig into this lead a little more. Here comes Kinoshita to Blanchette, and I'm sorry. I thought that landed in actually, and so did every single Humber Hawk player on the court, but it's going to be point over to the Bruins, and you can see Pinto is wondering how come he can't have the same leeway with the referees there. And you can actually say, I'm not sure if you guys picked it up, he specifically said these Humber Hawks can do whatever they want. But perhaps maybe some of that negative energy here parlaying into some positive effects for these Bruins. Sometimes you got to forget your coach a little bit here and just keep playing your game, and that's what these Bruins are doing. But just as I give them some positive momentum, they're going to lose it right back there.
So you know what myself as a player playing sports back in way back in the day, you feed off your coach's energy, and when you're in a big time game, you're down 2-0 and you're on the verge of being eliminated, having a coach that's a little bit angry and animated and not so much there for you can kind of get into you, unless you play it like that and you just take out the aggression on the ball. But when your coach is like that, it can kind of get into your head. But he's a great coach, as you can see, putting a smile on his face here. Christian De La Cruz looking for a good serve, and he gets it.
Yeah, De La Cruz definitely stepping up a little bit more here. We're going to see the violation on the Hawks there on that volley. And now the Bruins, actually, sorry, a double hit there. And now the Bruins tied 11-11 as Christian De La Cruz showcasing some skill here off serve. Definitely doing what his Bruins need here, and De La Cruz leading the way usually has to step up a little bit more as he has in this third set. And a big point there for the Bruins. 4 straight points here now off De La Cruz's serve. And let's see if De La Cruz can keep this momentum going.
Just a lucky roll there. They kind of hesitated, unfortunately, which you really shouldn't. Got caught looking at the ball there. Don't see that too often.
Kinoshita to Blanchette, and there you have that one going to land out of bounds there though, and on no deflection on the Bruins side. A big point there for the Bruins as they're now up 13-11, and a quick timeout here from Wilkins on the Hawks side, trying to stop this little momentum that we've seen the Bruins build up here, specifically off Christian De La Cruz. And we're going to check out a little bit of a player profile here for De La Cruz, as we touched upon a couple of times through this game, leading the way with 182 kills on the regular season for his team. One of the biggest reasons why his team did sneak their way into the OCAAs as they finished 9-9. You can see 2.8 kills per set. But the one thing I love to see from players, 118 digs.
That's what I was going to say.
Not only is he consistent, Lucas, he's also willing to put his body on the line for his team.
You got to love it. You got to love it. You see him diving all over the court, no regard for the body. When he's going down, he's thinking about his teammates, not himself, doing what's best for the team. And when you have players with heart like that, and there we get a good shot of him, good-looking kid there. It's always nice to have players like that on your team, and you really feed off of that kind of energy, because if somebody's willing to do anything to win for the team, if he's doing it, you got to be doing it too.
Yeah, they're definitely in tough here, but they are up 13-11 in this third set. However, they are down 2-0 here, so you know this is crunch time truly. It's do or die here for the Bruins, because if they don't win, it's home time, and we'll see them next season. But there you have a good dig on the back line. I think we're going to see a violation on that volley, though. And yes, we will. the violation on Kong there, and that's going to be a big point now for the Hawks here as they do stop that momentum finally with Kinoshita setting up for serve. As Kinoshita gets that one over here, De La Cruz digging it out, finding Kong, and a big kill attempt there from Adams, and Skanes not able to block that one effectively with that deflection out of bounds. The Bruins get the serve right back here, up 14-12.
Big time moment here for Sheridan, almost at that 20-point mark. They got to continue to play the volleyball that they have been if they want to have the miracle rally, which we would all love to see maybe happen, just so we can have a little bit more of a game. Not that we want any team to win, we just love to see more because this has been a great game.
We are supposed to be a little bit unbiased, but I do love exciting play, as you mentioned, Lucas, and both of these teams have the potential for that. And Ricky Davids now stretching the lead to 3 here, 15-12. And a nice point there as the Bruins are going to look to set it up for serve here on the back line. And you can see Pinto still animated here. And now Adams gets this serve in. And Gibbs now going to hit that one out. And we're going to get some fans involved here. And a Quibin save now. Going to see now an easy setup from Kong, looking for Davids. But Majcen with a good save there. And as we see Gibbs looking to kill it down. And he does just that, putting it right through the hands of De La Cruz. A big point here now as the Hawks stop that momentum again, and we're going to double check this one here. And Alex Gibbs with the Wolverine type play again. Just vicious out there.
That was the first time, though, after one of those big kills, we didn't see him celebrate as much, maybe realizing that his team is down a little bit, and the celebration will come maybe after his team can possibly get the victory.
He definitely is a very intelligent player that understands what time it is in the set, usually reserving a lot of those big fist pumps for when it's either a tie point or, of course, putting them ahead. But right there, these Bruins not going away, up 16-13, a big point there as we see Davids setting up for serve here. Looks like he's talking to the ball a little bit, trying to get it to do what he wants. And now we're going to see on the other side, though, Blanchette going to see that attempt dug out somehow from Davids on the back line. Davids not able to dig that second one down, though. Majcen finding a big point there now for his Hawks.
I think that's the first time today he was able to get that spike over the net and not have it go the Sheridan way. If you can get 3 killers up on the front, smacking those balls, you're going to see a lot of success coming for Humber possibly tomorrow if this win can be accomplished. And it is a 14-16 lead Sheridan.
And that one's going to be just out of bounds there. And a big point now for the Hawks as they are down just 1 again here. You know these Hawks want to finish this one strong as they're going to have an early matchup if they do win this. The 12 p.m. start for the consolation final tomorrow. And of course, you're going to be able to find that again here on M-Link for those viewers catching this matchup here.
Presented by Bel Air Direct.
Of course, you have to make sure that we put that one in there. But as we see Pascual showing off a little bit of some basketball skills here. As we mentioned, sometimes quite the crossover skills. Usually because of height. I remember playing a little bit of volleyball myself in high school, and that was pretty much because the volleyball coach said, hey, let's get the tall players for us here as we get it going. Pascual with a nice serve. What a big block up front there for Blakely, using that 6'7" height to his advantage.
I was going to go look on the sheet to see just how tall he was. Nick took the words right out of my mouth. There's the height we're talking about that Humber possesses that they use to such an advantage.
But there's going to be a violation there. And the Hawks thought it was a violation on the other side, but that's going to see now a loss of serve, and LaSalle is setting it up on the Bruins side of 17-16. And as LaSalle gets this one up and over here, he's going to put that one directly into the net, and that's a big loss of serve there. 17 all here now, Lucas, for the Humber Hawks.
Yeah, it's just the mental errors at this point in the game in a 17-17 game. In the third set, you just can't be having.
But a nice setup there from Kong, but it wasn't able to be finished from Ross, and we're going to see a double hit there, though. And with that, it's going to be a lift, actually, specifically. And on that violation, it's going to be now back over to the Bruins as these teams settle down into a bit of back-and-forth play here.
Getting close to the 25 mark there. As we talked about, there's no room for mental errors. There's just no room for error at all. As we check back in, Alex Rainey getting back in here, looking for a big serve. Coming off the bench, these can be hard hits.
Yeah, you know, Rainey getting that serve up will be replaced right away by Butcherietti, but a good dig there. Not going to be able to get picked up, but we're going to see Ross and Butcherietti come right back in here, and we're going to see Adams and Rainey step off here. definitely must be a little bit difficult to get into, you know, momentum and to find yourself warmed up when you're only really coming on for those serves, as we've seen Alex
for sure.
Rainey.
And then you saw him make a defensive play there, and unfortunately he wasn't able to make the second one. But when you come off cold and you have to face a Gibbs spike, not too many players at any level could really just hop onto the court and find success. It's hard to do.
Definitely like utility players in baseball, that's for sure, but we're getting a good rally here, back and forth. Somehow David's able to get back up from his feet and stop that Blanchette attempt. And now Blanchette maybe a little frustrated there, trying to get a bit too much power on that attempt. Gonna be out of bounds there, and now we see Justin Kong setting up for serve here. These Bruins now jumping out to a 19-18 lead here. Back and forth play in this third set. These Bruins don't want this to end here. And of course, if you're a Hawks player, you want Kinoshita to keep setting it up for Blakely. But that's going to be just out of bounds there, actually. I thought we did get the deflection off the Bruins. But now 20-18, a very important stat, as you touched upon usually, Lucas. The first to 20 are these Bruins, as we see a timeout here on the Hawks side. Wilkins taking a much-needed timeout, in my opinion.
Humber's been a good team coming out of these timeouts, obviously. Coach Wayne Wilkins is getting the right message across to his team. He's been around for 23 years, so he knows the exact things to say to his team in order to get them going. So we'll see if they'll have some more success coming out of this timeout, because if they do, it may be spelling end, unfortunately, for the Sheridan Bruins. Though it looks like we might get our wish of more sets possibly in this game, as Sheridan is just 5 points away now. Mind you, as long as they don't let Sheridan come within Humber, they will be able to push us to a fourth set. And if we get to a fourth set and you win that one, the fifth set's a brand new ball game. It's like a 0-0 game. Anything can happen. So at this point now for Sheridan, you just got to take it step by step and not think of the overall picture and win each set.
And as Pinto, he sounds like he's taking the words right out of your mouth there, Lucas Mancini. Basically saying to his team that, come on guys, we have the lead here, we're not done just yet. It could be a whole new ball game if we can sneak this point here and get into this fourth set. But 20-18, as we have mentioned here for the Bruins. We're gonna now see number 9, Justin Kong, setting up for serve here. Kong getting it over as we see Majcen getting it to Kinoshita. Kinoshita to Blanchette. A good dig from Butcheriette. As now it's going to be set up for Dela Cruz, but the volley violation there on Butcheriette. Now is going to see a big point for the Hawks, and with that loss of serve, point over to the Hawks now, down just 1. And we'll see a couple of quick substitutions here for just this service game, obviously. They're looking to get a little bit more skill on that back line for serve, and we're going to get number 10, Quinton Hudgens, setting it up. Hudgens, as we touched upon earlier, the first-year player out of Port Perry. Much better attempt this time as his first one went into the net. But there you have De La Cruz turning it on, but somehow Hudgens able to stop that. And a second attempt there, but Banks not able to find that one. And Adams, sorry, not able to find that one, but they will get the point there. Lucky as the Hawks player put that one a few feet out of bounds. And now the Bruins here up 21-19. De La Cruz setting up for serve as he gets it over. There's Majcen to Kinoshita to Blanchette. And we're going to get a ball. Looks like we might get, but somehow the Bruins players were trying to get that one. Not able to, though, and it goes out of bounds there as LaSala was pretty much almost into the backdrop we have here behind us.
Thought for a second he's going to end up in my lap, to be honest.
Well, you could have congratulated him on his player of the game there yesterday, but these Bruins now up 21-20. Let's see if the Humber Hawks can continue, though. The little momentum they're finding here is Kinoshita going to get that over, but here, right back the other way, Kong to Adams. And just like that, these Bruins going to find the ball right away here, setting up for serve again for Adams on the Bruins side.
All right, this next point really is a big one. You're either going to be up 3 or you're going to be down only 1 for Humber. Big anxious moments for both teams here.
We're going to see Kinoshita looking for some clarification again from the referee, and he's actually going to get a warning now. Wilkins actually is asking, like, really? Is that actually happening? And I'm going to say it's a little bit of a compensation play here, in my opinion, because earlier we did see Frank Pinto kind of call out the referees a little bit for letting the Humber Hawks have their way a little more verbally. But that seems to have changed here as the Humber Hawks will receive that warning, and maybe that might curb a bit of their talk here, and that might make Pinto a little happy on the other side, and that'll make Pinto even more happy there though. La Salle getting fired up here, to say the least. A big point here, and as you touched upon, Lucas, that one now making it 23-20, just a couple points away here from the Bruins extending this match
to a fourth and very important set.
And there's Blanchette with a big mistake. Thought he could flip that one over to the open court, and a big error there now as it's 24-20. Set point here for Adams. Adams gets the serve over. There's Gibbs to Kinoshita. Gonna go back to Gibbs, who's just gonna punch that over left-handed. Now on the other side here, we get Davids. He's gonna find Quaiben digging that out, and there's Kinoshita to Gibbs. Another nice block, but a good dig on the other side. A little one-on-one match there up front. But Ross able to get that one as we get a good rally back and forth. You know, Kinoshita looking for Blanchette though, and Blanchette with the deflection. Actually, no, they're not gonna call that deflection, and with that, it's gonna be a big third set point here for the Sheridan Bruins now. 25-20 there, and what looked like could have been a straight set victory for these Humber Hawks. We're now gonna see them up just 2-1, and these Bruins here, we're gonna check some highlights from that last set, able to come through in the clutch, and you know why. Number 15, La Salle, and number 2, De La Cruz, but of course, Ricky Davids, as you see there, no slouch as well.
You kind of saw it too. You're seeing a lot of great plays by Sheridan, but that was the first time we've seen Humber make a lot of mistakes themselves. We haven't seen them have those sets where the ball ends up out of bounds, or where there's been a lot of infractions for them. And the coaches for both teams really getting animated. We are going to see a very, very intense fourth and possible fifth set.
Honestly, if you're the Humber Hawks coach, Wilkins, you know that you have to take this set, because if you go to a fifth set here, I think that the Bruins are going to take this one, just simply due to the fact that Pinto seems to be able to fire his team up here finally. They've responded. He was just as animated in those first 2 sets, but they weren't getting the reaction or the team play they needed. But right there, Lucas, in this third set, coming alive finally, these Bruins.
Absolutely, you feed off your coach's energy, and I thought maybe that it would maybe intimidate them a little bit due to the fact, big circumstances, coach all on you, but they've kind of used it for motivation towards playing better volleyball. This set here is going to be a very big determining one. This is like game 6, trying the fourth set, ever so important game 7, although we're going to go with a fifth set instead of that game 7. We are getting down to some very, very important volleyball. Must be mistake-free for the team that will come out on top.
Yeah, some exciting times here at the D-Bark David Braley Athletic and Recreation Center for the non-locals here catching us on M-Link. And we have an exciting day of matchups here. Day 2 at the 2017 OCAA Championships presented by Bel Air Direct. We had a nice nail biter there in that first one with Redeemer College. The Royals coming out on top though for their OCAA Coach of the Year, Brad Dews. And as we have here in this second one, another exciting one with the Humber Hawks in tough here against the Bruins, but they are up 2-1 coming up into this fourth set, potentially the final set for the Bruins if they can't come up big here.
And if you wanted to just take a look at some themes within this game, all the sets have finished by 5 points. First half went in Humber's favor with a 27-25 lead. Coming back the other way for them, they were able to do a 25-19 second set win, and then as we just witnessed, a 25-20 lead for Sheridan as they were able to battle back. Set number 4 getting ready to get on their way. The court's all cleaned off. Teams are ready to go. The coaches have had their words. Pinto didn't have too much for Sheridan as his team already knows what's expected. Humber, the 23-year vet, Wilkins, obviously wants to let his team know what's up, let them know the expectations and game plan. We are set to have a very intense and exciting fourth set.
You definitely nailed it on the head there, Lucas. Should be an exciting one to say the least. And as we're going to see on the court for both teams, we're going to see Quaiben, Majcen, Kinoshita, and we're also going to see up front there, Skanes joining Blanchette and Gibbs, of course, on the Hawks side. And we're going to see Butcherietti come in quickly here. And we're also going to see him joined by Kong, Adams, and of course, De La Cruz, number 2, and La Salle, 15. And Big 8, Ricky Davids up front as well. But we get this fourth set going here. And not the best setup there from Kong, but we're still going to see it go just over. And you know what, though? Just as that one was a very unlucky attempt, we're going to find the luck swing back the other way there as Alex Gibbs hit that off his offhand, wrong foot. Still managed to sneak that one over though. And there's Kinoshita now getting the serve over as we see Adams putting that one down, taking the pass from Kong, but going to be out of bounds there. And now Kinoshita going to set it up for his second straight serve here.
Good mental toughness there by Humber, not to want to touch the ball there. Obviously, when it comes over that net, your first reaction is get it right back over. Some good stuff there from Humber.
As we see Gibbs looking to get it to Kinoshita, going to come back to Gibbs. Going to try the nifty play, not going to work though. A nice dig from LaSala. Going to force Butcherietti just to put this over though, but here comes Kinoshita to Blakely, but a good block up front there from Adams. And Adams taking it right back himself for a big point there. And that's what you want to see from your big man up front. The big block and getting set right back up, finding himself some air time there for a big kill. And now Sheridan down 2-1 early on here in this fourth set. Let's see if they can maintain the momentum they built there in that last set. A couple of nice plays there, some great defense to get that back over. But here comes Kinoshita to Gibbs again, and this one is going to be put down there by Gibbs as he was able to get the angling down on that ball right into the Sheridan Bruins court.
De La Rose almost had another great defensive play there, as he's had many throughout this one. He just wasn't able to get there to it.
Yeah, De La Cruz, definitely a big player there. And when he goes, these Bruins go, and he hasn't had the most success in these first few sets, but that last one, he did get going finally, and as we saw, the Bruins did take it, with Blanchette, though, getting this serve here for the Hawks. Let's see if either of these teams can get some momentum early on, and that's what you need to see from the Hawks side if you want some momentum. A quick 4-1 lead here early on with the air from Ricky Davids, hitting that kill attempt right into the net, and now Blanchette going to get a second straight serve here.
Humber's got to be happy with the way they're going. Sorry to cut you off there, Nick. Got to be happy with the way this one's turned out right now. 4-1. They got down big early in the third set, pardon me, to Humber. And you know what? We talked about the big difference for Humber is they were starting to make mistakes to hurt themselves. And now Sheridan is starting to share a little bit of that. And we saw Humber lose that last set, 5-1 now. Don't be too surprised if Sheridan keeps this kind of stuff up. If unfortunately it may become a Humber victory.
Yeah, definitely a nice play there from the Humber Hawks, and now with the 5-1 lead, a smart timeout here from Frank Pinto, looking to stop the bleeding here early on in this fourth set. And if you're on the Hawk side, as you saw Wilkins there, definitely telling his team that they just need to keep going. And on the flip side though, Pinto, I'm not too sure if he's got any more to tell his team, just simply due to the fact that he's been very animated and he's been up and down this court. If I'm a Humber Hawks player, I might be a little bit more grateful for Wayne Wilkins' calming presence, it seems, in that timeout huddle.
Well, with 23 years of experience and everything that you go through and all that time, that'll give you that. Our Sheridan coach here in his second year, leading his team to great success, obviously, being in this tournament. Overall, we keep talking about how intense and everything this is. Although the coaches are very animated, this is fun for everybody. This is why everybody plays the sport. Everybody loves being here. You do see through all the angry faces and much excitement due to some calls. It's always ended with smiles, and everybody's happy to be here. And this is such a fun tournament to be able to do. And Mohawk is such a lucky college to be able to host such a great event. And we're back on the way.
Well, it is championship time, so of course we have some big plays here, as you touched upon, Lucas. But there comes Kinoshita to Skanes, and we saw De La Cruz try to dodge that one matrix style, not able to though. And another big point here as we see number 16, Blanchette, finding great success here on a couple of service games back-to-back. And Blanchette employing a bit of a calmer serve here that he was utilizing earlier, and jinxing him regardless there, though, as he was finding some success off serve. But with that unforced error, we're going to see loss of serve, and now the point go over to the Bruins, with Davids setting it up here on the end line.
I don't know if that was him messing him up or you, but there were a couple fans that screamed at the point of his hit. Not always the nicest thing to do.
But Gibbs coming right back anyways, and going to give us the service game back here for the Humber Hawks, now up 7-2 early on in this fourth set. And we're going to see Collin Skanes here set it up for serve on the Hawks side. And just like the Bruins jumped out to an early lead in that last set, let's see if the Humber Hawks can maintain this early 7-2 lead they have. But right up front there, some good defense from Blakely and Majcen, forcing Davids to put that from the back line a little too much further than he wanted, but here comes Gibbs, and there comes another point. Gibbs screaming at the Bruins players there, get out of my way, and now he's going to get a bit of a warning here from the referee as well.
Seriously. Yeah.
She definitely did not appreciate that one, and we're going to get a quick wipe up of sweat, blood, sweat, and tears
hard
here.
Work. It's hard work. Hard work on the court. We got to clean that up. Keep it on the players. Yeah, but Gibbs right away after a great play. Celebrate your great play, but he definitely did a service to the other team of letting them know that he made that play, and the referees had to tell him to calm down. Playing with emotion and passion is obviously something you want. You just got to toe the line and know when it is just a little bit too much.
You definitely have to know when to use that to your advantage. And right back the other side, though, we're going to see a big point here. And now Pinto getting very angry and animated again as the referee's going to come together here. We're now going to see LaSala come to the line. And even though the Bruins did take that point, they are going to get a warning here. And Pinto still screaming and now getting a whistle here from the referee as she's basically right in his face telling him to calm it down as he does look for Kong coming over here. And we're getting quite a few warnings this game. Back and forth here it seems after only just one warning being issued yesterday in 4 matches. We've now seen quite a few here today. Garrett May finding one earlier there, and now a couple of players back on both sides here for the Hawks and Bruins finding some warnings here, and maybe they're utilizing a little too much of that energy from their coach Pinto, finding themselves in trouble a little bit with the referees.
Yeah, to be honest, I've taken my headset off to try and get the coaches' memos and see what they are saying to the referee. Obviously, it's kind of cool to hear what they are saying, but it's always good to get an in-depth analysis into what the coaches were thinking. The coach for Sheridan was upset that Gibbs was able to celebrate and look at the other team while he thought his teammate turned to look at his teammates in celebration. So we will see with how this one continues to go. The closer it gets into the match, the more intense it's going to be. We have an 8-4 score for Humber, and the emotions are running just as high as the number of sets we're getting into. More hard work on the court.
Yeah, you can definitely see Pinto still shaking his head there, and because you definitely can see lots of excitement on the Humber Hawks side, regardless if they get the point or not. But what you're seeing is some posturing from both teams here, and that's where you get a little bit dicey because we have the championships here. This is a big game on the line. It's do or die, either win or go home, and that's, like you touched upon, Lucas, leading to some frayed nerves here a little bit, it seems. And right there, taking that one right to the face, Butcherietti, a massive point here. And you definitely can tell the Bruins not liking the play here and the intensity that these Humber Hawks are driving down their throats here. And let's see now if the Bruins can come out in this next play and maybe match this intensity. As you can tell, though, you're going to see Kong at the net again, looking for some clarification here. And you see on the other side, though, the Humber Hawks here, definitely all smiles after that big one. And this is getting chippy, to say the least here. If there was body checking in this game, we'd definitely see a fight. But another big kill there, but a good attempt and a good block on that kill attempt. But now a nice dig out there from Quibin. Here comes Majcen, and Majcen forcing that one right through the wall of Ross and Kong. Ross looked like he was going to get that one back over, but not able to, and now a big 10-4 lead here for the Hawks with Alex Gibbs setting up for serve again. And lots of excitement and animation coming from both benches here, but a nice save from Kong there. And a little nifty play almost working, but Quibin saving Majcen there. But now we see Kong getting it to De La Cruz, but a good block, and now Quibin looking to dig that out as we see Majcen getting the setup. And we're going to see the violation there, and it's going to be a violation on the Bruins side, and a big point again here for the Hawks. Now stretching this lead to one of the biggest leads they've had here in this entire game, Lucas. 11-4 now.
Yeah, well, you're just kind of starting to see the intensity take apart this one. Sheridan, when you win that next set and you have a chance to stay in the game, the nerves start to really kick in. You're starting to see Humber really, their game plan start to take over of the hard hits and uncontrollable balls. for the Sheridan team, and the intensity of this game is really just picking up. Personally, I love it. I think it makes for a better game and a great atmosphere here, and we're being treated to a really good, intense game.
A nice
save.
Block from Blakely up front there, but as you mentioned, a good save. And now back on the other side, looks like it's going to be just out of bounds here, and these Humber Hawks are on fire. Reeling off 5 straight points here, Lucas.
Exactly. Well, and it's a little bit of the mental mistakes to start to creep back in the Sheridan's game that you saw be eliminated in the third set. So a big play there. Finally getting some points. 13-5, unfortunately, though. The score is getting a little bit out of hand. But that's not to say that Sheridan could not battle back. We've seen today that no game is over until that final whistle. So both teams got to keep playing, and we are, as I just said, being treated to quite the game.
But there's Rasta Kinoshita. Now back to Majcen, and Majcen going to force that one through the wall there of Adams and Kong. A big point again now as they bring this lead back to 9. 14-5 here for the Hawks, and it is getting dire here for these Bruins. And now Majcen going to get this serve over for the Hawks, but there's Butcherietti to Kong, and a nifty play. Going to find that one landing. Adams noticed that the right side of the court there was quite empty and took advantage of that. And now a big point for the Bruins as they really need to string off some consecutive points here. I'm a little surprised that Pinto hasn't taken a timeout yet to stop this bleeding. But the Hawks up 14-6 because here comes Kinoshita to Blakely. And Kinoshita to Blakely is a successful attempt there off the block attempt from Butcherietti with that deflection going out of bounds. Now we see it again back up to a 9-point lead here with Blakely setting up for the Hawks. Blakely getting that over, soaring that though just past the line there. And now it's going to be a bit of back and forth play in these last few points. And we're going to see Blakely step off quickly. And we're going to see the libero Quibin come back on here, defensive specialist. As Dela Cruz gets the serve over, a nice dig there. Kinoshita going to be forced now just to get that one as Collin Skanes just got it over here, but going to be just out of bounds there on the Ricky Davids attempted save. And now these Hawks are getting it back and forth here, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Bruins. You need to find some momentum, and maybe that's why Frank Pinto finally taking a timeout here. Going to try and see if he can get his team to come out of this timeout and offset this big 16-7 lead these Hawks have built in this fourth set, Lucas.
Yeah, well, you finally are starting to see the big spikes going through and the defense not being able to keep up with it. A lot of hard work being put on by the Humber defense as well. We keep mentioning the offense. The defense is playing fundamentally sound as well. And we're just starting to see Sheridan unfortunately falter a little bit. We're starting to see some mental errors with some serves go into the net. Some guys not being there in the defensive positions where they're meant to be to make plays on the ball. So unfortunately, things are really just starting to be tilted in towards the Humber direction. And the most unfortunate part for Sheridan is that Humber's already won 2 of these sets. So all they need to do is score another couple of 9 points, and we will have a game winner. And we will be moving on to our next game coming up at 6 o'clock, which you can catch here on M-Link. As I mentioned earlier, presented by Bel Air Direct.
Yeah, I was almost going to have to call you out there for your terrible math there, Lucas, but you saved it just last second there. It is 9 points here for these Humber Hawks, almost finding themselves in the consolation final tomorrow against the earlier winning Redeemer Royals, but we still have a little bit of volleyball to play here.
Absolutely. My calculator doesn't work as well as these players do.
But they're the serve over from Kinoshita, and now Adams looking for another one, but a good dig out there. But we're going to see an easy setup here now for Davids, and that's going to go just down there. Luckily for the Bruins, as Kong knew he didn't set it up properly there. A little apology quickly there for Davids, but Davids getting lucky on that one, able to outlast the defenders and get it just over their fingertips. But the Hawks still doubling up the Bruins here as Adams gets that over. But here comes Kinoshita looking for Blanchette, and Blanchette putting that one down, and that's why Kinoshita is one of the top assist getters in this conference, because even though he didn't have an easy one there off that dig, he still used the bump and put it exactly where Blanchette needed it. And now 17-8 here, again a 9-point lead. Let's see if Blanchette can find the same success he had here early on in this set to bring this lead to where it is. And another whiff, a swing and a miss, and that has been the story of the game here for the Bruins. If Justin Kong could have shown up the way he has been all year, this could have been a different story. But we now see it 18-8, the first double digits lead here this afternoon for the Humber Hawks.
Starting to see some real frustration being shown by Sheridan. Plays like that, unfortunately, something you don't want to see at this stage in the season, at this stage in the game, especially, unfortunately, a 10-point lead now for the Humber Hawks. They just have to continue to play pretty decent volleyball, and this game will unfortunately be over for the Sheridan Bruins.
Yeah, Pinto trying to find any lineup here that can do it, as we see Maurizio White, number 3, there for the first time on the Bruins side. But we're going to see a big point here, as that one was out of bounds, and now the Humber Hawks here up 19-8. But as mentioned, Pinto trying to find anything that can work here, with Maurizio White, the first-year player, finding the court for the first time today. But let's see as Blanchette gets this serve over here. And Blanchette going to get that one down as LaSala decided to let it go. And a big service ace here for Blanchette. Now the Hawks up 22-8.
Coach Pinto a little bit beside himself now, unfortunately. This one has completely got away after such an entertaining third set we had.
You can
definitely looking like it could be over.
You definitely can see Pinto looks a little bit more reserved than he has, and I can understand why. I think he realizes this one could be out of reach here with the Hawks up 21-8, and his team's lackadaisy play not able to offset these high-flying Hawks here. And as we touched upon, some cheeky play from both teams here, though. But we're going to see that one just go out of bounds. LaSala on take 2 there, with the right decision to let that serve go. And now 21-9 here for the Bruins as they look to hopefully get into double digits here in this 4th set. And Ricky Davids with his usual routine there. And Blakely going to try and, Skanes going to try and come and find that setup there from Kinoshita. Not able to though. And now David's going to get his 2nd straight serve here. As he does a quick little talk/whisper to the ball, I believe. But now Kinoshita able to save that, getting it over, but a big block here, but somehow Quaiben saves that, and Skanes able to just get that volley over. Pinto doesn't like it, but some good defense, and with that one out of bounds here, Pinto's thrown his binder on the bench. I think he may have finally reached his breaking point, and a big point here now for the Hawks, up 22-10. The consolation final is in sight here for Wayne Wilkins' team. And now we're going to see Pinto give a sarcastic thank you for your time. And with that error on Davids, 23-10 now for the Hawks. And it seems now this win is basically an inevitability here for these Humber Hawks. But Pascual, still a couple of points to go here. But here comes Collin looking for LaSalle, and LaSalle not done just yet as he forces that one through Gibbs and Blakely. A big point here for LaSalle. And now he's going to set it up here, LaSalle on the end line with his Bruins down 23-11 though.
You gotta love those plays near the end of the game. Just maybe something to build off of going in the next year. Gotta build from the positives. You got this far, nothing to be ashamed of.
This Bruins team is definitely going to be a team to reckon with for the future. As we mentioned, a lot of their big players, rookies. But we're now going to see set and match point here for the Humber Hawks. And Alex Gibbs here looking to finish this one strong and launch his team into that consolation final tomorrow. And here Gibbs going for the big jump serve, trying to finish with the ace. And there you have it, a free ball for Kinoshita. And he says, wham, bam, thank you very much, guys, for coming out. A big finish there, 25-11. And what a finish there, as we're going to find the players of the game coming up as per usual, of course, Lucas. But the one thing I got to highlight there, Kinoshita taking that free ball and slamming it down emphatically here. And that, in my opinion, is the story of the game, as you mentioned, Lucas, the power of the Hawks.
It's kind of just a symbol of the game, to be honest. The power of the Hawks was on full display throughout this one, and for that they are getting the W in this one and moving on to tomorrow. Now we move on to the player of the game presentation, proudly presented to the best player of the Sheridan Bruins and the Humber Hawks.
But we're going to see Justin Collin get the player of the game here. A little bit of a surprise for myself, actually. I felt that it should have maybe gone to LaSala or potentially De La Cruz, but hey, good job for Justin Collin. He's had a great year.
Great defensive game for him.
But You need to score though, and as we see a very obvious player of the game, it's going to go to either Blanchette or Gibbs each time. Gibbs getting the player of the game last night, and now we're going to see Blanchette grab this one. But we're going to check out some highlights as well too. Predominantly Clayton Blanchette, I believe here. As we check it, we can see exactly why Blanchette is one of the few players to join the 300-300 club. 300 kills, 300 total points, and lots of kills like that are exactly the reason why. But defensive play there, as you can see as well from Blanchette, a part of his game. But he just gets up there though.
And he just plays overall great volleyball, great at setting things up, great with the kills, great with everything. Get a little look at the teammates here. Now let's take a look into some of the general highlights throughout this game. We're gonna see what we saw from a lot of Humber. We saw a lot of great offensive plays with hard hits right down the middle. Here we go, we continue to see the Humber hits. Sheridan also did play, had lots of great moments throughout this game, lots of great defense. As you can see there, once again, the hits just being too hard for the Sheridan Bruins to defend over and over and over again. Humber
the Bruins
needed to
did
do
a good job in that first couple of sets, keeping it close, but in that last set though, Lucas, they definitely didn't come to play here necessarily, losing that one big. And here you have the Humber Hawks now going to be playing the Redeemer Royals tomorrow at 12 in the consolation final. But we're not done just yet today. We got the Fanshawe Falcons taking on those Durham Lords here at 6 p.m. on M-Link. We'll see you guys in a little bit. I've been Nick Sahami.
And I'm Lucas Mancini. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to catch the next one.